I always tell people the day the Latino, African American, Asian, and other communities realize that they share the same oppressor is the day we start winning. Because we are the majority in this country now. We have the ability to take over this country.
We're not dividing ourselves. You are. But we're not going to remain lone wolves and just go, I don't view race. I'm starting to more and more. Starting to more and more. Thanks, left. I tell you what is not offensive, but definitely evil is the anti-white racism right now in this country that you're facing. And they're using, well, I guess I should say not using, simultaneously espousing anti-white sentiment while claiming that they are the ones being victimized, those on the left. It's a playbook. It's part of the Marxist playbook, and I'll prove it to you. But let's first lead this off. It's been about 3 days since Monkeygate. That's what they've called it, which to me makes no sense.
It makes more sense.
Gorillagate would have made more sense. Apegate. They picked the worst possible name, but of course, people are still...
Apegate sounds terrifying, by the way.
It does.
It sounds like you're not allowed to open... Don't open the Apegate.
Don't open the Apegate.
What? You left the Apegate open?
Yeah. Well,
no!
Don't you know what those apes will do?
Wait, these specific ones or in general?
Talking about in an actual Apegate.
Like Planet of the Apes. Like there's a gate to their planet.
Planet of the Apes doesn't go well for anybody. So it's
Not even the apes.
It's been 3 days since what I will refer to as Apegate. And of course, many people are still reeling and recovering.
The president has declined to apologize for the post, instead blaming a staffer for not noticing the images. They did take it down. What's your reaction to the video?
Well, I tell my children all the time that an apology is only meaningful if you have no intention of it happening again. And I think that there is no one who truthfully believes that Donald Trump has no intention of making these kind of statements or, frankly, these kind of actions again.
That's essentially involving the president, Donald Trump, posting a video depicting former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama as apes.
This is so much bigger than President Donald J. Trump. I know a lot of folks don't want to admit that, but he is a symptom of a much larger problem when it comes to not just any type of racism. We're talking about anti-Black racism. We're talking about this kind of depiction of Black people.
This disgusting video posted by the so-called president was done intentionally. Donald Trump and his vile, racist, and malignant behavior. This guy is an unhinged bottom feeder.
I'm going to say that again. Depicting the first Black president in United States history and the first Black First Lady in United States history as apes.
I don't care. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't. I don't care. It was a scroll and there was an autoplay of a next. This is not an international incident. I don't care. I think that the people complaining about it, I don't think they care all that much either. And I think they're using this as a springboard. Let's be really clear. Anytime they can parrot the talking points of oppressor and oppressed. White people, Republican, Donald Trump, oppressor, oppressed. Black people. He goes, the first Black president. So what? We've compared, how many people have we compared to apes? White people, by the way. Ron Perlman.
Yeah.
To the white apes from Congo.
Always.
And this wasn't even something that Donald, I don't care. And what's more important to me is to not allow the left to gain momentum to try and then divide Americans more and accuse you and Donald Trump of dividing Americans. Like, this is not that big of a deal. And here's when they say the quiet part out loud. This clip is not new, but it's been resurfacing. This Representative Gene Wu, of course, Democrat from Texas, listen to what he says here and just understand, if you are a white American in 2026, that you are, by their own words, you are in the crosshairs.
I always tell people the day the Latino, African American, Asian, and other communities realize that they share the same oppressor is the day we start winning. Because we are the majority in this country now. We have the ability to take over this country and to do what is needed for everyone and to make things fair. But the problem is our communities are divided. They're completely divided.
Yeah. And then the longer clip, because I always have a rule, if it seems really, really bad, rewind or fast forward 30 seconds. it only gets worse. Let's play the longer clip.
I think you've hit exactly the right point. It's not just Latinos. It's not just Asians. It's not just African Americans. It's everybody, right? Our country and the forces that be, the powers that be, spent tremendous time, effort, and money to make sure that those groups are never united, that they always see each other as enemies and as competitors, without ever realizing that they share one thing in common.
They're Americans.
That their oppressors all are the same, right? The
that was a lovely
oppression
thought,
comes
Stephen.
from one place. And I always tell people the day Latino, African American, Asian, and other communities realize that they share the same oppressor is the day we start winning. Because we are the majority in this country now. We have the ability to take over this country and to do what is needed for everyone and to make things fair. But the problem is our communities are divided. They're completely divided. And I talk about this all the time, is that like for Asian Americans and for African Americans, we probably have one of the worst relationships between any community.
Yeah, why?
I bet you a lot of Asian
White people,
Americans
that's why.
too don't, in my experience, don't even realize that if it wasn't for the civil rights movement, if it wasn't for that, there would not be 22 million Asian Americans in this country.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're too stupid to realize it. You hear this dialogue here? He mentions everyone. He didn't say white people are the oppressors exactly, but he named every race of people aside from white people. An oppressor, I guess we're a little bit murky on the definition of that rule. By the way, check the references. We make them available every show. So the oppressors pay twice the amount in taxes to those who receive the benefits, black Americans. White Americans pay twice on average as much in taxes, and the data doesn't differentiate between Hispanic and white, to be clear. When we talk about oppressors, he wants to make things equal. Okay, well, black Americans make up about 12% of the population, half of murders.
Dang.
Half is, so why don't we make that equal? Let's stop white people from being killed. By the way, 12 times more likely to be killed by blacks than vice versa. Go check the references. Black Americans commit 27% of all violent attacks against Asians. Think about that. They're actually 300% or more likely to commit violence against Asians than some other statistics would actually suggest. You can check that out. That comes from City Journal. So when he talks about if we all come together, well, it's really hard to come together with a group of people who are 300% more likely to attack you. It's really hard to come together with other people who are killing members of other races in record numbers. And it's really hard to come together with those people against your oppressors when your oppressors are the ones who pay the taxes that fund the benefits you all receive. Can we just be clear about what oppressor is? And then they'll tell you, oh, yeah, they want you divided. Right. So Republicans want us divided. And to be clear, I do. I wouldn't say divided. I want us separated. You, the American worker, the American taxpayer. You are more American than someone who is not working, not paying taxes. Do you want it? Black, white, brown, whatever. Now, statistically, we can look at who's most likely to do that. They want to divide you on immutable characteristics, race, and they want to convince you that you are all the same. That is Marxism. You understand that.
Even people like this guy are separating people. I'm sure in the Latino, Hispanic, the Asian, and the black community, there's a ton of people watching that going, oh, I'm not oppressed.
Right.
You telling me I can't do something? I can do anything I want.
Right.
Talk about oppressed. I own my own business.
Well, he's a minority leader in the Texas House of Representatives. He was born in China. He has sponsored or co-sponsored bills to, for example, recognize Asian American Pacific Islander Day of Action. He wants to provide state services in languages other than English. This is what the left does. Then they accuse you of doing that which it is they are doing themselves. So let me read you this quote from Karl Marx. He wrote, "The history of all hitherto existing society is the history of the class struggles." Then Mao wrote, "Who are our enemies? Who are our friends? This is a question of the first importance for the revolution. It is about division. It is about class warfare. It is about divide and conquer." And it doesn't hold up. It can't hold up because many of these groups that they say all share a common bond share nothing in common. Asian Americans share nothing in common with the Black Lives Matter or those who actually support the term Latinx. It just won't work. Now we could go a different route and say, hey, let's find the common bond, the one that we always found as Americans. It's not possible now because there's There's too much of a percentage who buy into this bullshit. And then they blame you. And so what you need to do is reject that blame. And you need to understand, if you are a white American who is contributing and doing everything right, you will be vilified anyway. And so stop feeling guilty. 11 a.m. Eastern, by the way, is when we stream this show. Here's a montage of those on the left bemoaning white people in America and praising that, hey, maybe we'll become less white. Isn't that a virtue? I thought we weren't supposed to care about race, but here they are.
And when we even just try to have the basic acknowledgement that it would be good to encourage not an unreflective body, not unreflective workforce, but a workforce that barely even reaches the proportion of representation of what everyday Americans look like. That's somehow anti-white discrimination, anti-male discrimination, anti-straight discrimination,
yes,
anti-cisgender discrimination. I mean, come on, folks. What are we doing here?
So yeah, we are going to sit here and be offended when you want to sit here and act like and don't let it escape you. That
I won't let it
white
escape
men
me.
on this side of the aisle telling us, people of color on this side of the aisle, that y'all are the ones being oppressed, that y'all are the ones that are being harmed. That's not the definition of oppression. You tell me the prolonged, cruel, or unjust treatment that you've had, and we can have a conversation.
Pause.
So we have to
well,
stop
let me ask you a question. Do you think that having to score higher on SATs, do you think having to have more qualifications and getting rejected for the same job or placement at a university, would that count? Do you think being blamed for something that you can't control and having to go through white privilege tests, do you think hearing about the evils of white toxic masculinity, do you think that might count? Or do you think maybe even the way that you're yelling at people? Here's a question that I have, someone like Crockett. They'll get mad and they'll say, what are you trying to throw the angry black lady stereotype at me? Mm-hmm, yeah. Let me ask you, do you think that actual slaves who were oppressed, of course, wrongfully so, we all agree on that, right? Do you think that they were talking to their oppressors that way? Can you imagine? Why don't you go pick your own cotton? It shows that you're not. It shows that you're not afraid because you're disrespectful and you have no mindfulness of decorum or how to act in a polite, civilized society. Now, the white men you berate will still be held to those standards because they don't want to be accused of being racist. You clearly aren't oppressed by your shitty attitude. You want to say angry black lady stereotype? Okay. I'll throw that at you. It tells me that you're not oppressed. Also, you're going out of your way to fake it because you don't talk that way. Let's continue with the montage.
Recognizing people and realize the biggest terror threat in this country is white men, and there is no travel ban on them. There is no ban on, they had the Muslim ban. There is no white guy ban.
Black people cannot save this country from white folks. We can't do it alone, right? If white folks aren't going to join in, if white women aren't going to join in,
you're killing too many of them.
Latinos aren't going to join in, we can't do it alone.
But when you deal with the systemic racism in this country, from its inception to the inequality that is still there now, from levels of unemployment to education to the criminal justice system to mass incarceration, how can you say that is still not based on racism?
For the first time in 2017, we'll be in an absolute minority in the United States of America. Absolute minority. Fewer than 50% of the people in America from then and on will be white European stock. That's not a bad thing. That's a source of our strength.
It's a source of our strength. Here's the thing. I believe that you can have a unit, a team, a company, a squad that develops naturally, that is diverse. And that would be strong. That would be a strength because it was developed as a meritocracy. Race actually wouldn't factor into it. What I don't understand is why this idea that we won't be majority white is actually stronger than majority white. Because that sounds to me like racism. That sounds to me like you were saying, all these different races. The only thing we know is that it definitively will be stronger than if we had more white people because white people are weaker, are less capable, or lesser than. Can anyone kind of give me that case objectively as to where white people, white cultures, have built worse societies when compared on average to Hispanic, when compared on average to African? I'm not saying that white people, if you line up 10 and line up 10 black, brown people, the white people will be inherently better. I'm not the one making the argument, but I'm not the one saying that any race other than white is actually a strength. And that could just be my white guilt speaking, I guess, because I don't know about you. Does anyone else? I feel like I was raised, almost bombarded with campaigns telling me that I shouldn't see race and that we were all the same, that no one race of people would make us stronger, let alone one race of people, white people, according to Joe Biden, make us weaker. Am I misremembering that? Did I dream that, or do we have a clip?
Here's one time it doesn't matter who your neighbor is. Here's the other.
I'm getting cremated.
Stop the hate.
So all the times in between, it does matter.
I am an American.
I'm an American.
I am an American. I'm an American.
I am an American.
I am an American.
Okay, so I'm just getting mixed signals. So all of them are American.
Yes.
But the white people, less good American.
Probably.
Do I have that right?
I think
is
so.
Is that the message now?
We're the oppressors.
That's right.
And we're really bad at oppressing, though. We need to improve on the oppressing, I guess.
Right. Because we contribute without withdrawing the same amount of benefits. And this is the thing. Look, it's one of those deals where we were raised in a post-racial America, and so it largely wasn't relevant. Certainly not when assessing somebody's character. But here's the problem that we face now. You as a white person may not see it as integral to your identity, but other people do. Other people do.
Yeah.
That's sad.
And when you hear that you're being targeted because of your whiteness, and you just heard it many, 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 many times, it matters that you understand the language that is being used and the perception on which it is based. This comes from Pew Research, right? People, they were asked, and we found the percentages of who thought that their race was central to their identity. With black respondents, 74% saw race as central. Hispanic, 59%. Asian, 56%. White, 15%. 15%. It's not even close. So everyone else has a tribe of some kind. They view it as incredibly important. They view it as central to their identity. But the one group of people who are being vilified for their immutable characteristic. In other words, if you don't view yourself as in a tribe because you're like, well, I'm Irish, and I used to see it this way. Irish, Italian, German, like white people aren't a monolith. Sure. Asian, Hispanic, black, according to the irrefutable polling data, they view you as part of a tribe, and they vilify you because of that perception. You've got to wake up to reality, especially when language out there right now is painting your tribe as the oppressors. Only 15% of white people view their race as central to their identity. 56% of Asian, 59% of Hispanic, 74% of black, and with Native Americans, 100%, though it's not one to be proud of, you could argue. It's amazing what they can do with digital enhancement of real documentary footage.
That's so bad.
They even got the baby.
Yeah, the Native Americans almost thought that was a bigger prize. So if they're going to do that, here's where we are. If the left is going to do this, and if they want everyone to find common ground against you, all right, what do you do? What do you do? What do white Americans need to start doing at this point in time? Remember I made the case for tribalism? And I was talking about right wing versus left wing, because if you are a betting man, you should bet right wing, conservative, on every major issue as far as how you will be divided from a portion of this country. Well, race is starting to kind of creep in there, isn't it? If they're going to vilify you as a white American, as an oppressor, and everyone else views their identity as central, their race, sorry, as central to their identity, and they want to come together as a coalition against the oppressor, white people, well, you probably better start viewing yourself as part of a group, because they're targeting you that way. None of this is good for America, but you know what? It's incumbent upon the left to tone it down. Remember after Charlie Kirk got shot, they say, hey, let's tone down, let's bring down the temperature. You first, because you just said that my tribe, my family, my group of people, that we're oppressors, and that we deserve to have every other group ally themselves against us. We're not dividing ourselves. You are. But we're not going to remain lone wolves and just go, I don't view race. I'm starting to more and more. Starting to more and more. Thanks, left. Appreciate it. Thanks for waking everybody up. I think a lot of us realize that when Michelle Obama said it was the first time in her life that she was proud to be American when her husband was elected. That was the turning point in the United States, by the way. And I mean that was the turning point, because all of us thought, look, okay, of course I'm not going to vote for him because he's effectively a socialist. But at least there'll be some good that'll come of this first black president. There'll be some healing, and we can kind of move past that. And instead, you had Michelle Obama, who was there waiting to ensure that we didn't. It's the first time I've ever been proud of my country. Everything else that we did before that, Michelle Obama, it was all but filthy rags to her until her husband was elected. We do not live in the same country. We're not proud of the same country.
What about when he was a senator?
Mm-hmm.
We allowed a black man to become a senator. Wouldn't that be a proud moment? What about when he graduated from Harvard, right? Wasn't it Harvard that he went to? Columbia? Can't remember what higher education. Would that be a proud moment? Wouldn't it be a proud moment when you weren't enslaved? Like, wouldn't you be proud of the country that got rid of that?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't there be like just moment after moment after moment after moment in your life to be proud, even if you didn't like every single thing the country did?
Mm-hmm.
But that's the only moment, the first time in my life.
Mm-hmm.
How did we not see this?
I think a lot of people did.
Is it the suicidal empathy thing coming back to bite us every single time?
Yep. And that's why you have an American.
I think there's guilt involved too. I think it's like a suicidal guilt thing where people, you know what survivor's guilt is?
Yep.
It's like that, but they're like, they feel guilty that they have all the privilege. Like,
yeah.
Oh, I've been told that I have all the privilege and I'm an oppressor. So
you don't.
I'm really sorry for that.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Yeah.
Did you actually oppress somebody? That's terrible.
That brings us back to the Super Bowl. Hey, an American sport with American superhumans, athletes with access to such advanced training methodology, equipment, scientists, doctors, nutrition, being watched by tens of millions of Americans, hundreds of millions, I guess, total, but tens of millions of Americans on American networks that are broadcast across an American invention, several actually, electricity, being piped through televisions as we watch these wonderful commercials that are the byproduct of American exceptionalism and free enterprise. And we look at all that, go, everything about this is American. So much so that other nations use this to broadcast their gay soccer games. But they're still using electricity and television. They're still using broadcasting equipment. They're still coming to the States in many cases to train. And we look at this and go, you know what? This crescendo of American ingenuity, exceptionalism, luxury, you know what it needs is less America. Can we make this thing about Puerto Rico? How many inventions we getting from Puerto Rico or Nicaragua? You know it's 2025 in all those countries. Bad Bunny named 2.
Rum, by the way.
26, but yeah.
Sorry, 2026.
You have to update it.
I know, every time.
It didn't help them, though. We're progressing.
Well, how have they benefited the world? At a certain point, colonialism can't be an excuse for everything. It's 2026 in Cameroon, in Nicaragua, in Honduras, too. You like electricity? You like medicine? You like vaccines? You like television? You like having a smart device? You like being able to, you like women being educated? You like more people voting? You like a constitutional republic? Do you like microwave popcorn? How much of anything that you enjoy on a daily basis comes from anywhere outside of the United States of America. I'm not talking about manufacturing. I'm talking about changing the world. And throughout all of that history, hey, it was majority white. But we still benefited everyone else. Why are the majority non-white countries, why are they of no benefit to the rest of humanity? Why, when there's a natural disaster, why are people still standing there with their hand out, looking, let's be honest, looking for help from the American white middle-class worker? Because you are the ones who keep this alive. And they crap on you while they do it. And then they tell you that you're a racist if you go, wait a second, I keep being vilified for being white. I mean, I guess I have to push back and say, hey, being white's not that bad. Racist. Just look at it objectively. If you're going to pick a country that has benefited the world in an unprecedented way, it's the United States. Yeah. And if you're going to pick a race of people, if we're going to play that game, it's not even close. It's a walk-off. Why? Oh, colonialism? I guess there was no empire building. There were no wars in the cradle of civilization in Africa, in South America, none. Also, when people talk about honoring the culture of these other countries, like Puerto Rico, Bad Bunny, that's not their language either. That's the language of their colonizers. You think that South America was a bastion of Spanish-speaking Catholicism throughout its history? So what you really mean to say is, let's embrace the inferior culture. Why? Well, because it's easier to do. It's easier to do the divide and conquer thing when you do that. None of it is genuine. America benefited the world more than any other country. If you're going to pick a race of people, white people. Not even close. You're welcome. That's it. That's my stance. You're welcome. Anyone else disagree with that? You want to argue the Huns or whatever the hell? All right. Oh, you're still here? And you're still watching this on YouTube? You've probably noticed something is missing by now. I'm not here. That's because the Live Daily Show is now streaming exclusively on Rumble weekdays at 11 a.m. Eastern. Tune in there, where nothing is censored.